Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
RoadToRuta.com. Happy Eclipse Day. The end of the world. Didn't happen yet, but the eclipse is this afternoon, so maybe it'll happen then. There is something that will change the world forever, and it's not the eclipse. It is the revelation that silver has been price suppressed for 170 years. Those of you thinking to take profits at $30 or $50 or $100 or even $500 or $1,000, why? Well, Pix, it's an investment. Yeah, it's also money. It's also something you can have as the banks crash and go away. And they are crashing, and they will go away this year. The world's about to change. You need to get everything in your own possession. It is insane. But why right now is so important is the revelation that, I've known for over a year. I've been screaming about it, how much silver is being consumed in ridiculous things. We are literally throwing away silver because the price is so cheap, because the riggers are so trapped. And that's the way the Western banking cabal has run the system. If you can control the alternatives to unbacked fiat money, they can print as much money as they want, and they have been. The moment they lose control of that is the moment it all ends, and that's where we're approaching. Some of the things that are coming right down the pike, it would be 9 days from now, we will have the Silver Institute. Who'd have thunk that entity, the Silver Institute that people have laughed about for years, would be so important as far as the global monetary system? Next Wednesday, on April 17th, they are going to be publishing the annual silver survey, and they will have to either give up the ghost, which says we're using a hell of a lot of silver in industrial consumption, so much so that we are running out. And we pretty much have run out of available in the ground silver compared to what we're consuming. Everything else has to come from investors. And that's the things like Jeffrey Kirsten don't understand. And the CEO of Hecla Mining, who's also the chairman of the board for the Silver Institute, think, investors are just going to give their silver to industry. We don't have to worry. There's so much silver above ground. Nobody's holding silver in a warehouse to give it to the industrial side. It's not why you hold silver. Short-term profits, I guess the big guys do that on occasion. But right now, China is soaking it all up, and that's the key. So we're going to find out next week what the Silver Institute comes up with. I doubt they're going to come up to my number, 350 million ounces for 2023. That's a minimum in my calculation. That's a minimum of how much silver would you use just in solar. And that's not even counting electric cars, which the West has pretty much been able to poo-poo. The rest of the world saying, you guys are crazy. Of course electric cars are the future. Absolutely. And we're going to make a zillion of them no matter what you do or no matter what you say. And that was key. That's why the Treasury Secretary of the United States of America had to run over to China to say, stop making electric cars, stop making solar panels. And it failed. I had no doubt it would fail, but hey, and now it is actually acknowledged the failure of Janet Yellen. Janet Yellen sees more work to do as China talks end with no breakthrough. So Janet Yellen went to China to say, hey, we are losing control of silver. The physical silver is just flying out the warehouse doors, and investors don't want to give it up. The smart ones hodl their silver. The big banksters who have rigged the price of silver for so long are in deep trouble and keep going short and short and short. And normally we'd see something like this. They'd smash it under the moving averages. Well, we are running away from the moving averages right now. And we will continue to run away from the moving averages, which means they short more and more and more. As the price rises, they short more and more. Don't forget, they have to cover those shorts. That is rocket fuel, as Ted Butler calls it. Rocket fuel for the other side of the equation of I do believe they'll probably shut down the COMEX, try to restructure it. But once you shut down an exchange, good luck getting it going again, especially an exchange that has massive amounts of short commodity inventories. There's literally silver is being gobbled up by China and India, and they don't give a shit what the United States says. As a matter of fact, if I read through this article, Russia chopsticks oversupply, everything you want to know about Janet Yellen's visit. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is wrapping up her second trip to China, where she raised American concerns about Chinese overproduction, warning against support for Russia, and unexpectedly caused a stir on Chinese social media over her travel style and chopsticks wielding skills. They just laugh at Janet Yellen. They literally laugh. Last time she went there, she was eating magic mushrooms. Oh, I mean, talking about come to a negotiation from a position of power. Social media, she's the laughing stock of social media. They actually love her. They love Janet Yellen because they're not afraid of her. They're not. Stop making electric cars. Aren't you the green energy people? Didn't America chastise the green people in America? Chastise the Chinese for having so much coal. You're the worst polluting nation in the world. China said, "Oh, we can fix that. We'll just make a zillion gigawatts of solar power and all electric cars and all the electric gadgets that we can make, and we'll stop being a polluter." And then we get mad at them. We're not. The only reason we are mad is because we're trying to control the system with silver. We're trying to control the price of silver. Why does it matter? Why does the price of silver matter? Because not only is silver a absolutely necessary industrial commodity, it's used in everything from flat screen TVs to cell phones. The largest use now is solar panels around the world, by the way, and it isn't stopping. And no one's talking about this year. Nobody's even talking about last year. You just wait till the 17th. Anyway, over the span of 4 days, Yellen had wide-ranging meetings with Chinese leaders, officials, academics, students, and American executives both in the southern metropolis of Guangzhou as well as the capital, Beijing. Her second to China in 9 months as Treasury Secretary, is aimed at addressing escalating trade disputes between the world's largest economies, and the two sides try to stabilize relations following a summit between Joe Biden and President Xi last November. Despite the overall tone of Chinese state media coverage, Yellen had a tough message for Beijing, and China's surging exports of state-subsidized electronic vehicles, solar panels, and batteries are threatening American jobs. Last time I heard, we were subsidizing electronic vehicles, solar panels, and batteries as well. It just makes me laugh. I'm sorry. It just really makes me laugh. The position of power versus the position of hilarity. The Chinese people and the Chinese government see Janet Yellen as a hysterical joke. And there she is. Literally, her tiny little miniature statue. I'm not a tall guy. And you don't need to be a tall person, but if you're short, you got to learn to overcompensate by having a big mouth and a strong voice. That's what I've been trying to do my whole life. Here, listen to this. Last month, several Chinese state media outlets published editorials challenging the notion that China's supply gut poses a threat to other economies. Quote, "What China exports is advanced production capacity. That meets the needs of foreign customers." At the news conference, Yellen conceded that concerns over China's oversupply will not be resolved in a week or a month, but the exchanges that we announced during the trip will provide a dedicated structure for us to raise our concerns about China's imbalances and overcapacity, among a wide range of other topics, in detailed and targeted manner. Basically, she didn't do shit. And China is continuing to make as many solar panels as possible and many electric cars as possible. And they were laughing at this picture. Little tiny Janet Yellen wobbling off the plane in her power suit. They called her a Chinese Dama, D-A-M-A. Online commentators noted her down-to-earth style, with some comparing her to a Beijing Dama, a Chinese term to describe a middle-aged woman. Wow, that's commanding respect. Don't you dare use silver. Holy moly, that's why everything's about to blow sideways. They have been trying to battle silver today. Surprisingly, silver continues to stay up. This is all shorts. This is all futures and options. There are entities within the COMEX now that are taking as much physical silver as possible. I've been saying for over a decade that China doesn't want to end the game. Why would they want to end the game when they're winning? Until the game was ready to be ended. Until the end time was here, and that's where we are with silver. We are running out of silver, physical silver. The amount of silver going in this year, my guess it'll be over 500 million ounces. And everybody should be saying, wait a minute. I thought we had a massive silver deficit according to the Silver Institute. We do. Where will that silver come from? You might ask yourself, okay, the silver squeeze back when J.P. Morgan was and friends were in trouble back in 2021, I think it was. What happened? All that silver flooded into the ETF SLV, that criminal ETF, and it's all drained out. That's where the silver came from. From you. Yes, if you invest in SLV, you are part of the problem, as I'll show you in 1 second. Again, normally, right here, they would have smashed the price of silver below the moving averages to cover, but they're finding out that nobody gives a shit anymore if the commercials cover their shorts. So they just keep getting shorter and shorter. As a matter of fact, the other tools they use for manipulation, the ETFs, like all ETFs, are tools of manipulation because it takes a real thing, physical silver, and it derivatizes it. It turns it into a share of stock that you can buy, sell, short, whatever you want to do. As a matter of fact, look at this. The short interest went up 112% and is now at 30 million ounces. If you have one share of SLV, you're supposed to have close to 1 ounce of silver in SLV. That's the way the prospectus has structured this. So 30 million shares, somebody doesn't have any silver in there. And who is short those 30 million shares? Well, we already know who's short those 30 million shares because we have this guy. Actually, he's talking. This is Jeff Curry of Goldman Sachs. This was a few years back. a discussion. This is, I think it was 2021. Yeah, 2021, where Jeff Curry and Jeff Christian were freaking out about the silver short because that was a real thing. And it took J.P. Morgan mobilizing all the silver they'd stole during their admitted manipulation of the price of silver. They shorted the COMEX, which is where the price is determined, and then soaked up by over 1.2 billion ounces of silver. Shocking amount of silver. Think of the Hunt brothers. They had about 100 million ounces of physical and about 110 million ounces of COMEX longs before the government took them out. J.P. Morgan had 1.2 billion. But J.P. Morgan was taken out in a different way. But, I mean, if you're going to say the Hunt brothers cornered the market in silver and that's why they got in trouble in 1980, and that was only 100 million ounces of COMEX, what about the 1.2 billion ounces that J.P. Morgan had? And they ran even larger derivative positions. And they even called out Bart Chilton, a commissioner at the CFTC, even said J.P. Morgan was so offsides. But a political decision was made not to bust them. A political decision was made to allow them to break the law, to destroy many silver investors, and that's how they created the artificial silver bear market in 2011. I've talked about that many times. Anyway, so we're looking at right now, this is the off-market SLV shorts, what they don't really tell you about. Of the total amount of SLV that can be shorted, 75% of it right now, which is a huge jump as of Friday, is shorted. So massive shorting in SLV, massive shorting on the COMEX. Let's listen to what Jeff Curry said about the COMEX silver shorts.
Forget the ETF. In terms of thinking about how you're going to create a squeeze, the shorts are the ETFs. The ETFs buy the physical, they turn around and they sell on the COMEX to be able to hedge that physical position like any other corporate. It's
Wow. So Jeff Curry, head guy at Goldman, don't forget Jeff Christian worked at Goldman too. These guys all collude together. They run cover for the banking cabal. Is saying that the silver shorts are the authorized participants in SLV, meaning that they buy the silver, they sell it to SLV, basically sell it to the shareholders, and they also sell it on the COMEX. Those are naked shorts. I mean, it's so obvious. And Jeff Curry just told the world who the shorts are that are going to get fried. And we know who they are. And who is the custodian of all this silver? JP Morgan Chase. Yes, the same JP Morgan Chase that's knee-deep in Epstein, knee-deep in Bernie Madoff. And it's the board of JP Morgan Chase that is knee-deep in the Epstein. That's going to be exposed. And when that's exposed, that Jamie Dimon was knee-deep in Epstein, so to speak, known as Jamie Dimon, that's going to get really ugly. And they are the largest bank derivative holder in the United States, probably around the world. Hang on to your hats, my friends. Silver futures and options going crazy. That's the only way they can control the price of silver is using futures and options. The physical side, there's nothing much they can do. That's why Janet ran to China. Stop importing silver. Stop making solar panels. Stop saving the world. Embarrassing for the United States of America, but we deserve it. We, the individuals, don't. We didn't know what was going on. Our government lied to us. Surprise, surprise. But in a big way. They lied to the entire planet what was important. And what's important is to control the price of silver. Don't forget, there's a big difference between silver and gold. When the shit falls apart, everybody who has gold, who is a bank, is going to have to sell it. They're not going to buy more. They can't buy more. Their job is to stay afloat. They have to sell all liquid assets. Same with Bitcoin. All these banks that are buying and the big corporates that are buying Bitcoin, they're going to be selling Bitcoin as their business crumbles. They can be selling gold as their business crumbles. None of them hold silver. You wonder how the gold-silver ratio can flip from 85-1, where it is currently, down to 1-1. That's how that's done. And oh, by the way, there just happens to be 10 times as much gold as they tell you there is. Jeffrey Christian will tell you there's 200 and 220,000 tons of gold ever mined on the planet. It's more like 2 million, maybe even up to 10, including gold in the ground. Big part of Road to Ruta was understanding just how much gold there is. Yes, we will be going back to a gold standard, a physical gold standard, not a hybrid gold standard. Physical gold standard is we actually use gold as money, gold coins as money. And at any time you can walk into if you want to use the gold notes, you can walk into your bank at any time and exchange the gold, the notes for gold. A lot will be done on the blockchain if Reggie Middleton allows it. Yes, the owner of the patent that covers all central bank digital currencies and all gold, gold and silver backed cryptos, huge violation of Reggie's patent. But they don't seem to know it or understand it, which is crazy. But moving on. Yesterday, I posted this about Theta. This has been on the private road for a very long time. This is part 1 of 3. I split it into 3 parts so everybody can understand it slowly. Part 1 is why Theta is the most important crypto you can hold by far. It'll blow out any other crypto because it's the most important use case. AI will not happen without Theta and the technology that Theta invented to share broadband. You don't have to put 5G towers everywhere for AI. You don't have to build these massive storage capacity infrastructure for AI. You don't have to build massive compute power so AI can generate all this stuff. You can share everybody else's that everybody's got massive excess capacity on their computers, on their cell phones, on their flat screen TVs. This is so big for the future of humanity. And I laid this out 3.5 years ago. I did this. So I just published the first one yesterday. Part 2 is coming out today. Part 3 is coming out, I think, tomorrow. Go listen to it. Even if you don't know shit about computers or cryptos. Even if you're anti-crypto. How's that been treating you? all you gold bugs who are so anti-crypto, anybody anti-crypto, how's it been treating you, really? The rest of the world is running away. There's a great quote I put in my fourth book, I think it was. It's a Shakespeare quote. It talks about the ebb and flow of a tide. You got to be on the boat as the tide is coming in, because when the tide goes out, you're going to be sitting on shore, and it's just going to be, everybody's going to be waving. It is not too late to get into Theta. Theta's going into the thousands, as Michelle White-Dove saw it. And this explains why. And this was done 3.5 years ago. The reason I'm putting this up is that I'm working on a new one, because Theta has changed in the last 3.5 years. It's no longer about sharing video. It's about sharing your hard drive, sharing your computing power. It's about having Theta edge nodes running on every cell phone on the planet. Sharing capacity. You don't believe me? Listen to this. This is the head of Franklin Templeton talking about, she said, Bitcoin is the greatest distraction known to man, which I think it is. She says it's a religion, which I think it is. It's okay. It's not a problem. All you Bitcoin maximalists, it just cracks me up that it's like you stop thinking. It was such a hard leap to go from being a gold bug to a Bitcoin that they said, oh, I got to be a Bitcoin maximalist. They shut off their brain. Yeah, there's a lot of shit in cryptos. You got to be smart enough to filter it out. But listen to what she says, and she's describing Theta in this discussion. Listen to this.
There's another company that wants to be the fastest streaming service out there. So when you're watching the content, so as I'm watching it on my, say, phone, I'm agreeing to let them cache their content on my phone. So now that you want to watch something, it only has to jump from my device to your device. And they're paying me in their currencies to leverage my device's infrastructure. So now I'm not just a client. I'm capturing the economic value as they grow as a firm. And by the way, I've become part of the infrastructure. They don't have to buy as many computers because they're leveraging their client's infrastructure. So the technology enables that kind of disruption. And then,
wow. This is the head of a massive investment firm. And she gets it. I mean, she didn't say it there, but she gets it to a point. I mean, basically, that's what the technology was 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Now it's completely different. It does that. That's like child's play now for Theta. What it's going to do now is remove the iCloud storage, remove Google Cloud. And Google is working with Theta to do just that. You don't need these massive server warehouses to do computations or to store your data. You can do it just like she said. Sharing. We're moving into a sharing economy because we can't build all the hardware needed to support AI, to support the cloud storage, the amount of cloud storage needed for AI, or just needed for the internet in general, the amount of broadband needed. And we are moving into a world that is absolutely 100%, and this is what I talk about in my discussion, leaning toward everything's online now. I mean, you can look at it as two ways. Everybody's going to lose their job, okay? But it'll free you up to do what your soul wants to do. If you really wanted to be an accountant when you were born, you can do that. The computers will do it much better and much faster. If you really wanted to be a lawyer, you can do that. The computers will do it much better and much faster. There's so many jobs that will be displaced, taken out. The best thing you can do is get yourself some Theta right now, because you will be participating in this future. No matter what you think, if you have an iPhone or an Android phone, you will end up getting software downloaded on your phone, and you can click, hey, yeah, I'll share my extra bandwidth because I want to earn the T-Fuel. You could look at it as a universal basic income. That's what the remote viewing guys saw. So it all depends on when you're going to be involved. Why wouldn't you want to be involved in the early stages? On the private road at roadtoroot.com, we do have a Theta page where we teach you how to buy, store, and stake Theta. What's better, Theta Fuel or Theta right now? I don't know. It's hard to tell. You're going to need a lot of Theta Fuel to run all these computations in the future. But then again, Theta is the governance token of the entire infrastructure. As new customers come on, like when Amazon creates its Amazon token and uses that as the system falls apart, most likely they will create a subchain. And that subchain will probably be on Theta, because Theta is really the only one doing it. And as Ethereum continues to implode, I think that's why Theta created their the language model they use is the same as Ethereum. You can run anything you do on Ethereum, you can run on Theta, but you can do it faster and cheaper. Same with Solana and all those other ones. It is quite crazy. So what else is going on for Theta? Theta Edge Cloud pioneering DePIN as resource sharing economy. That's the key. And that's the light that clicked in Google's mind, in Samsung's mind, in the Theta Labs people. Hey, it's not just bandwidth we can share. We invented a technology, this sharing technology. We can use everybody's excess hard drive for storage. We can use everybody's excess computation speed to run edge node, edge compute. It's called edge compute. And that's what AI needs. They need the storage and the computation power. So you're insane not to do this. This is the very early days. Nobody's talking about this. Except I was talking about 3 years ago. Again, go to Road to Ruta. Go to the Road to Ruta YouTube channel. Watch the first one. It explains exactly why it's needed. The second one will explain, it'll go further down the use cases and what I projected. Most of what I projected, about half of it has come true. Theta's still not on Coinbase, believe it or not, which is insane. What that would do to Theta, triple it, quadruple it in a day. I'm just saying. It's not like I didn't scream it. And then so much more coming. One more last thing. The head of the evil banking cabal is getting scared. Jamie Dimon warns the U.S. might face interest rate spike. He believes that J.P. Morgan is hedged on all fronts because they use the derivative market. What Jamie Dimon doesn't understand, or he does, but he won't tell you, is that all derivatives are contingent upon the counterparty. When you make a bet, there's a winner and a loser. That's what derivatives are. They're little side bets. So if you're betting that the interest rates will spike, and you take the short position on that, so if it does spike, you're covered type of thing. You're betting that the counterparty will stay in business to cover the losses. If you bet correctly, you have to pray to God that your counterparty is going to stay in business, or they're not going to pay you. And that's the whole problem with derivatives. It's the counterparties. And a lot of people are set, the good guys, to just pull the rug out of the whole derivative market. $2 quadrillion. That means you won't have a bank account. You won't have a savings account. You won't have a 401k. You won't have any of it. And then it's how we start fresh. Anyway, I am a lucky guy. I get to talk to Andy Schectman today. We haven't talked in a while. Such an important time. Last I talked to Andy a couple days ago, the retail side of silver is still completely silent. Everybody's afraid. It's called climbing the wall of worry. Everybody's afraid of the next slam, so they're not buying right now. And I think this is insane. We need to buy out Andy's inventory. If it falls, fine. Buy some more. But Bix, why wouldn't I just wait for the slam? They always slam. It always happens. As I've just said, I'm not so sure it'll happen this time, which puts a lot of people in a lot of trouble, especially the shorts. So they're going to have to shut down the comics. They're going to have to shut down trading in at least SLV. They're going to have to shut down a lot. And it's either an announced shutdown or the system, the banking cabal falls apart, the derivative meltdown happens, and it's not even announced. It's just one day you wake up and nothing works. So I don't know which it is, but you're going to pray to God you'd listen to the Road to Ruta, got your physical silver in your own possession. No, I don't think any mining company is going to survive this. They're too valuable. I've always said that. Mining companies are too valuable. The stuff they have in the ground is so important for the countries that represent that stuff. For example, Mexico. Most of the mines are held by foreigners. Do you really think when the system falls apart and nobody has any money and the people are on their knees saying, what the hell are we going to do you really think they're going to allow foreigners to control the wealth of Mexico? in the silver in the ground? Not a chance, my friend. And that will go for every country, including the United States of America. Although the United States of America, I think we have massive amounts of gold and silver, but mainly gold hidden all over the place, so that we will have plenty of gold and silver. That's what's in the Road to Ruta documents that came out of the Fed, Boston, back in when I found them in January 1st, 2007, originally published back in 1981. Actually, the original publication, I think, was 1980 or 1979. It was a short story for the Bank of Boston called Wishes and Rainbows. And it's all about what everybody's talking about now. What's the new monetary system? What can we do? What are our options? And that's what that talks about. That's where Road to Ruta came from, the name. And it's such a deeper story. Go to roadtoruta.com if you want more information. And go on the private road to get the really good stuff. I'll be talking to Jenny this week. She's on fire lately, on fire, just nailing everything. And her prediction years ago that silver will only be set free when the child abuse problems are brought out into the open is happening right now. So you want to join the private road at Road to Ruta. We are actually giving away 5 Theta, 50 T-Fuel, and 500 T-Drop with every 1-year subscription to the private road. So go check it out. We also have a private road page that teaches you how to buy, store, and stake Theta. All right, that's what I got for you. Good luck out there. I'll talk to you later.